Prologue, a universe drenched in fear. In the great expanse of the Orion Arm, one name echoed across the fractured communications of every species, the Xyrath. They were not an empire, nor a council, nor a fleet. They were a beast, a singular monstrosity bred from the ruins of forgotten worlds. It devoured, it corrupted, and it triumphed. To the galaxy, the Xyrath was the final boss, a creature spoken of in whispers, undefeated, inevitable. Worlds that resisted were cracked open like eggshells. Fleets that stood in defiance were crushed in claws larger than dreadnoughts. Empires bargained for survival, offering tribute, slaves, and entire colonies just to keep its attention away. And when it turned its eyes upon a small human colony, the galaxy leaned forward, eager to watch another fire snuffed out. Opening act, the Feast of Arrogance. The human colony of Vera 9 was young, barely 3 generations old. Families tilled red soil under the glow of 2 suns, their children learning songs about Earth that none of them had ever seen. The Xyrath arrived without prelude. It tore open the skies with a scream of gravity distortion, descending in its grotesque shape, tentacles of metal flesh, scales of burning obsidian, and an eye that reflected galaxies. The first human defenders rose in corvettes and gunships, brave, foolish. They fired railshot and plasma, their volleys slamming against the monster's hide like sparks against a mountain. The Xyrath laughed, a vibration through space itself. With a single sweep of its claw, it reduced a dozen ships to dust. On the ground, colonists screamed as shadows fell. The beast's appendages crushed outposts, flung habitation domes into orbit, and dragged screaming civilians into its maw, not for food, but for demonstration, for cruelty. The galaxy watched the broadcasted footage. Species cheered, not in malice but in relief. At least it wasn't their turn. The Xyrath roared, its voice translated across hundreds of frequencies. I am the end. Humanity will learn despair. The banquet of mockery. In the aftermath, alien councils convened, not to mourn humanity but to mock them. The Graal hegemony declared humans had grown arrogant, expanding too fast. The Zelth Confederacy broadcast wagers. How long before the humans begged? Hours, days. On the shattered remains of Vera 9, the Xyrath perched, carving its victory into the bedrock with claws that glowed like suns. Its message was clear. Humans were nothing special. Another toy, another victim. The galaxy laughed. Humanity, they whispered, was too civilized, too new, too fragile. And yet no reply came from Earth. No surrender, no apology, only silence. That silence began to stretch. The silence before the storm. The galaxy expected the humans to weep. Instead, their channels went dark. Their diplomats withdrew. Their colonies tightened defenses, and their merchant ships vanished into hidden ports. The Council of 9 sent probes near Sol. None returned. The last transmission captured the outline of something vast in the dark, then nothing. Rumors spread. Some claimed Earth had been abandoned. Others whispered of projects, fleets hidden under oceans, shipyards buried in asteroid belts, weapons sealed since the first Terran wars. The silence became oppressive. Even the Xyrath tilted its monstrous head, sensing something it had never felt before. Not fear, not rage, anticipation. The breaking of chains. Then the silence broke. The galaxy's comnet shuddered as a human transmission burst through every channel. This is Earth. You touched our people, you will never touch them again. A heartbeat later, fleets moved. From behind the veil of Saturn's rings, dreadnoughts surfaced, hulks the size of cities, bristling with cannons that bent light around their barrels. From Luna's hidden yards, carriers rose, their hangars vomiting forth squadrons of interceptors. Mars ignited, its caverns disgorging war machines that had slept for centuries, titans wrapped in armor older than most empires. Every star where humanity had planted a seed lit up with mobilization orders. Ships once disguised as mining rigs unfolded into warships. Colonies transformed into fortresses. The galaxy froze. It was not just retaliation, it was revelation. Humanity had not been unarmed. They had been waiting. The march of vengeance. The fleets moved in silence, cutting through space like blades through silk. No boasting, no diplomacy. Only vectors plotted straight for Vera 9. Alien observers scrambled to watch, expecting desperation. What they saw instead defied belief. Thousands of ships, not the ragtag corvettes the galaxy had mocked, but vessels of brutal design, angular, armored, forged for endurance. Human dreadnoughts moved like predators, escorted by swarms of destroyers and black-winged strike craft. Every human transmission carried a single phrase. For Vera 9. The Xyrath rose to meet them, spreading its vast wings of dark matter. It roared across subspace. Finally, a challenge. To it, humanity was prey fighting back. Amusing, novel. But the galaxy's veterans shivered. They recognized the cadence of the human fleet. It was not the march of prey. It was the march of hunters. Climax, the fall of the final boss. The battle began without warning. The Xyrath struck first, its claws tearing space, ripping apart a dozen destroyers. It laughed as its tendrils lashed, breaking human squadrons like insects. Then humanity answered. Railguns thundered, firing slugs the size of houses at relativistic speeds. They tore chunks from the monster's hide, spraying void with burning ichor. Plasma lances pierced its wings, severing shadow from flesh. Nuclear warheads blossomed like miniature suns against its scales. But the true terror came when the human dreadnoughts activated their cores. Beams of coherent light, white, merciless, silent, stabbed across kilometers. They didn't just burn, they erased. Where they struck, the Xyrath ceased to exist. The monster screamed, a sound that split stars. But humans pressed forward. Squadrons swarmed like hornets, crawling across its hide, planting warheads directly into wounds. And then the ground shook. From orbit, human dropships fell like meteors. Out spilled armored infantry, soldiers clad in exosuits, wielding weapons the galaxy had outlawed ages ago. They landed on the beast itself, cutting, burning, blasting, turning the creature into a battlefield. The Xyrath fought like the apocalypse incarnate, but humanity fought like vengeance made flesh. When the final strike came, it was not loud. It was a whisper. A single dreadnought, the UNS Deliverance, rammed its core into the monster's heart and detonated. The explosion lit Vera 9 skis brighter than its suns. When the light faded, the Xyrath was gone, reduced to fragments drifting silently in the void. The galaxy stared. The final boss had fallen. Resolution, the whispered dread. Silence followed, not victory parades, not triumphant broadcasts, silence. Human fleets lingered only long enough to collect survivors. Then, as one, they turned and vanished back into the dark, leaving wreckage and awe behind. In the galaxy's halls of power, no one laughed anymore. No one mocked. Whispers spread like fire. Never provoke Earth. The Grawl tore down their betting channels. The Zelth erased their recordings. The Council of Nine issued new directives. Do not engage humanity. Ever. And in the ruins of Vera 9, where monuments were raised to the dead, Survivors etched a single phrase into stone. Our patience is vast, our vengeance infinite. Epilogue: the new rule. The galaxy had always believed the Zyreth was the final boss, the monster to end all monsters. But the truth was carved into every terrified whisper, every silenced council chamber, every trembling hand signing non-aggression treaties. The Zyreth was never the final boss. Humanity was.